All right. All right, so I guess it's time for me now to welcome, and I hope you don't take this as an insult, but my all-time second favorite guitarist, and somebody who now I consider to be the hardest working man in the music business, the one and only George Lynch. How you doing, George?
Hey, good, good. No, I'm not offended at all. I mean, just to be on the list is nice.
Well,
you're
behind,
top 100. I'll be happy with that.
You're behind Randy Rhoads, so.
Oh, well, I'm in good company.
And there was one thing that I actually wanted you to clear up for me. Now, after Randy left and went to play with Ozzy, did you take over like his students or teaching at the school for him, or?
Yeah, I got the consolation prize. We were both up for the gig, and obviously he got it, and I got his teaching job that he had to leave to go play with Ozzy. So that was $5 an hour.
Some people actually have said you did get the job, but for some reason you couldn't get it, or take it, or something, or.
Boy, I was up for it like 3 times, and there were different, amounts of involvement on my part. It was really when I was up for replacing Brad Gillis before Jakey came in. That was the most serious
gotcha
time. So I was actually kind of dabbling, being in the band, and I was kind of on the road with him, but I was actually not going out on stage during the shows. I was in rehearsals. I mean, it was that kind of thing. I was
gotcha.
Being groomed and tested, but anyways, yeah. But yeah, I did get the $5 an hour guitar teaching job. So.
Nice.
Actually, it was a fun job. Actually, it was cool because I got to sit in a room and play guitar all day, and it was pretty neat.
And you went on to form your own career, so. It
I mean,
out.
I was already in Dokken when I got the call, so I had to leave Dokken to take a sabbatical to go do the Ozzy thing. And came back, and they weren't sure they wanted me back. They had Warren DeMartini in the band temporarily, so I joined Rat temporarily, and we were both rehearsing in the same rehearsal place. So it just got to the point it was silly. I'm just like, Warren and I were just like, well, why don't we just go back to our old bands? Okay. Because we were literally in a room next to each other practicing in the wrong band, so I was like, okay, I'll go to my band, you come back and be in your band.
It was like a trade between two teams.
Yeah, it was kind of silly. I don't know how that happened. Although we were sort of interchangeable guitar players, but anyways.
Well, I mean, as I also said, you're probably one of the busiest people that I see in the music business today, and I mean, you're constantly with all these projects going on now, and the latest one being the Sweet Lynch project with Michael Sweet of Stryper. I mean, it to me, I'm seeing all these different projects, and I'm just like, does your brain ever shut down? Because every time I turn around, you're coming up with something new.
Yeah, I guess that could be good or bad. I don't know. I mean, I've gotten some flack for doing too many things, and I get that. I think it's probably wrong to do, and in some respects, kind of confuse people, and it's like it looks a little disingenuous when you're like, oh, I'm in this band. Oh, now I'm in this band. They pop it up everywhere. I mean, that is, I agree with that, but at the same time, I'm just I'm not in a band where I can just kind of sit with one group and make a record every year and go out on tour and just be in that band, like Van Halen or AC/DC or Zach or Rat or I don't know, how Dokken used to be. I just don't have the luxury of doing that anymore. I don't have that band.
Sure.
So I started dabbling and doing other things, and that I just got a little carried away, I guess. But I do have a lot of projects. I got a few more in the pipeline that have been in the pipeline for a while that I need to finish. I've got the Shadow Train band, which is the band associated with the the documentary Shadow Nation that I've been working on 5 years, and that's
Wow.
a double CD that's going to come out this year. It's been done for a while, but just need to wait for the film to come out to release the CD. And
No,
then
what's the
there's
documentary
it's Native American issues and music.
Oh, wow.
And we've been working on that for, as I said, almost 5 years now. So we're trying to get it out there. Then there's the Unimog project, which is a sort of pseudo-industrial-esque project, and I'm having trouble getting, all the singers I need to sing on it. So I've got Michael from Opeth, got the guy from Skindred, Benji. I've got one of the guys from Mastodon singing on it. It's just heavier record. It's real cool, really interesting, really challenging. But that's tentatively called Unimog. I don't really know if that name's going to stick, but that's the title I have on it now. And then the third thing I have that hasn't been released yet is The Infidels, which I've been working on for a while as well. But we just recently teamed up with Angelo Moore from escaping the Fishbone, singer from Fishbone.
Right.
Legendary. Genius. So we're going to be trying to, finish that record up as well and get that out. I have no idea when that'll come out, but
wow.
Another one. So yeah, there's a few things out there that I gotta finish up.
Now, do you like it?
Well, I'm on this tangent, I might as well just explain it. We're also finishing up a new Lynch Mob record that is going to be on Frontiers Records,
okay,
and the same label that Sweet Image is on, and that's virtually finished, but Oni's just finishing up I think he's got about 4 songs left to finish up vocally.
Wow.
Other than that, it's except for the mix. So that's being delivered on April 1st to the record company,
wow.
and I think that'll be coming out this summer as well. So, yeah, we got a lot coming out.
So do you like it with this style now, where you're able to do all these different projects compared to being tied down to just, say, a Dokken like you were back in the day, or would you rather just be tied down to that one band?
Well, I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I mean, it's a lot more work to do it this way. There's 2 sides of the argument. There's as far as a passion and getting to explore different kinds of music and make a lot more music and play with different people. That's wonderful and rewarding. But all the work involved, of course, it's a lot more work, a lot more stressful and a lot more challenging. But on the business side of it, as I said, I don't have the luxury of being like an AC/DC or a Van Halen where I could just go, I'll go do a record right now and
right.
Maybe one every year and a half, and I'll go out and tour for a few months. I just don't have that luxury. So I'm kind of making up for what I lack in clout with one band or project by just sheer volume. I'm not saying that's why I do it, but
right.
When I'm sitting around here, and I feel compelled to write music and I feel inspired, I have these opportunities. Why not take advantage of them? I mean, there's no reason why I should. It's like when people criticize it, it's like, well, then you come pay my bills. It's like kind of telling a plumber, just on the practical side, I don't want you unclogging too many toilets. You unclog my toilet, but I want you to unclog neighbor's toilet. That's probably a terrible analogy, or I should say a shitty analogy. Right?
Yeah, right. Now, how about when you are writing the music? I mean, do you sit there, you'll come up with a riff or a piece of music, and do you sit there and just go, all right, I'm going to use this for this project, or I'm going to put this aside for maybe something down the road? Yeah,
I mean, actually, I do have a method. I mean, when I'm I'm practicing playing whatever in my studio at home, with an acoustic guitar, in the living room or something. I always have my iPhone there or my iPad and a little recording device on it, and I'm always going to come up with something. I'm sitting down playing for an hour or two. I'll come up with some ideas. Sometimes I come up with a lot of ideas. And then what I do is I quickly record those, just a little memo, and then I catalog them, according to what I think they might be. And then when a project comes along, then I use that as a reference tool. For instance, Sweet and Lynch, and I had to write the music for the record. And so that was one of my main tools, is I'd go back in there and, I'd find riffs that I'd come up with a year ago, and they're great. And that's why it's so important to record that stuff, because, they're valid ideas that will just disappear into the atmosphere if you don't record them,
Yeah.
And so it's really an invaluable tool for me, because then it's not like I'm sitting there on the spot, having to come up with a whole album's worth of material just off the top of my head,
Right. Yeah, like what would we do without iPhones nowadays, right?
Well, we did the same thing back in the day, but just use different machines.
Yeah. But it wasn't as convenient as just pulling out the phone.
Yeah, well, I used to use those little dictaphones, and I had Sony Walkman Pros and, things like that, cassette recorders. Wow. Always had something.
Now, the one thing, though, with doing all the different projects is you don't really get to play it out live with a lot of this stuff, do you?
Yeah, that is frustrating, and that is a problem. A huge problem, actually. My go-to touring band is Lynch Mob. That's the band that I can take out, and Oni and I are going out this year. Not to say that some of these other projects might not tour. Sweet and Lynch might tour. Big if there, but we're working on it. KXM couldn't tour because Ray, being in Korn, just prohibited us from making any plans. It's not like we could go, hey, Korn, you guys can't tour in October because we're going out. It's like he's in Korn, he's a member of Korn, he has to. That takes up the lion's share of his time.
Sure.
And Ray moved to Nashville and bought a house, and they're having a baby, and young family, and this and that. There's just no way we can pull it off.
Yeah.
Which is very frustrating for all of us, because we love playing together. The short time that we played together, recorded this record, and would like to do it again, but I don't feel we should do it. I don't think it'd be fair to do it without touring on it. So we probably won't do another record until we know we can at least do some touring on it. Which is kind of difficult because, as I said, you need time to pre-production to write the record, then the time to record the record, then take a break, and then book a tour, and then rehearse for the tour, and then go out and do the tour. That you're talking, many, many, many months.
Sure.
And for a band that probably isn't going to make anywhere near the money Korn would make. So, there are those considerations, the days of guys just playing together just out of love and passion are so over, unfortunately. It's not that we don't all want to do that, but, we're not living at our parents' house and practicing in the garage. We're, have families and mortgages, and it's just very unfortunate that that's just the way it is, But some of these projects that I am involved in do have a large element of that passion, though. Just wanting to do it just to do it. KXM was like that. Unimog is like that. Infidels is like that to a large extent. We just keep plugging away because we dig it.
Right.
We have other gigs. The rhythm section, Pancho Tomaselli and Sal Rodriguez are in the band War. They're also in Cheech and Chong's band, and Pancho plays in Tower of Power as well. So they've got their regular gigs that keep them very, very busy. And when we have off time, we do this the Infidels thing.
Hmm.
So
Now, how about with
labor
Michael
of love.
Sweet? I'm sorry, I was going to say, how about with Michael Sweet? How'd you guys hook up?
Well, we shared an agent. So when I was when we had the last version of Lynch Mob out on the road, Stryper and Lynch Mob shared an agent. We had the same agent, so we were invariably out on tours together and sharing dates together. We did the Monsters of Rock cruise together and things like that. And so we got to spend time together, and I got exposed to Michael, and we became sort of friends, not friends, but acquaintances, but definitely
right.
We're talking about possibly doing something in some capacity if the opportunity lent itself down the road, which it did.
Right.
So, through Frontiers Records, who put this project together at the label level, and so it was kind of a project created by the label, and it's kind of interesting. I've never done anything like that before. Usually bands, put together by the bands, and this one was put together by the label.
Yeah, they seem to do that a lot over there, Frontier.
I guess, yeah. Kind of designer groups.
Yeah.
Michael was very instrumental in putting it together, though. I mean, I think they just gave him the power to kind of, pick and choose his players and produce the record, which he did. And of course, he called me. He called Brian Pitchey and James Lomenzo, and it was nice because I'd play with Brian off and on different projects. Brian's been in Lynch Mob. James has been in Lynch Mob. Brian's played on the TNN record. Brian just played on the new Lynch Mob record that we're working on now. So he lives very close to me. James Lomenzo lives very close to me. We're always running into each other. We always work together. So I was like playing with guys I was very familiar with. We were all except for Michael. Yeah, so I was comfortable.
Now, we talked to Michael a couple months ago, and he told us that, well, one thing was that, I mean, he seems to be a very bit of a perfectionist. Now, and I kind of think you would probably be too, because, I mean, you're doing all these different projects, and you're real hands-on. So was it good working together like that, good working relationship?
It was interesting. Well, I got to say, we didn't actually work together. So, I mean, we did remotely, but we were never in the same room at the same time. I worked here on the West Coast, and they all worked on the East Coast in the studio out there. So we were just sending stuff back and forth.
Wow.
But whatever, it worked. Obviously, it worked. I mean, I'm very, very happy with the record. I know he was as well. And, it would... it's hard to say if it would have been better if we all worked together in one room. If we sat there and sort of, worked on the songs in person together. I wonder, if it could have been worse, or not as worse, but not as good. There are a couple things about the record I would have, had some reservations about, but that's always the way with every record you do. There's some things that you wish you could do over, but I'd say on the whole, it was a really good chemistry. Whatever happened there worked.
Right.
I don't think you could replicate that. I doubt if we do it the same way next time. Just like KXM, I doubt if we would do this the way we did the KXM record. I doubt if we'd do it that way again. It was really very risky, because we didn't have the time to write songs prior to going in the studio, so we just took a chance, and we never played together. We just went in the studio and wrote the songs in the studio.
Wow.
Average of a song a day, a little more than a song a day, and then recorded that song, on that day. And that was it. We had 10 days. I wouldn't risk that again. I mean, that's just, what happens if you don't come up with the songs that are not good. You really do need to put a little more thought into it. But it worked, But I think if we did another Sweet Lynch record, we'd probably work together and be in the same room.
Cool. Now, I also asked Michael, too. I said, joking around, I said, since you and George have worked together, is there any chance you might be like taking that lead role in like Tooth and Nail or something like that. And he started laughing. He goes, actually, we've been talking about it. So I was like, oh, okay.
Right. No, we have been talking about it for a while. Again, we run into the same problem we were just talking about, I mean, throughout this interview, is that the fact that Jeff Pilson, who again lives right down the street from me, and we love each other, and we want to do records together for the rest of our lives, and you know, he's in Foreigner, obviously, and Foreigner works constantly, and will be working constantly with him in the band for, you know, into the future. So how do you do that? How do you find the time to make that record and go on tour? It just doesn't happen. But on paper, we have all agreed that this is what we want to do. It's Mick Brown, Jeff Pilson, myself, and instead of Don, we got Michael Sweet, which I think is perfect on paper.
Awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll happen. I couldn't even tell you when, but, you know, it's we've got half a record already recorded, so, you know, musically, instrumentally recorded, yeah. So I'd like to finish it up, but I don't, you know, who knows? It might be next year.
Now, how about I mean, you with doing all these projects, how about like Don Dokken? Has he ever called you up and say, "Hey, George, you know, I see you're doing all this stuff. Would you like to work together, just do a song or something, or anything like that?" Or
no, he doesn't do that. Plays hard to get. No, he's no. We researched that and tried going down that road and, you know, putting it back together many times. I can't count how many times we tried to do that. And real serious attempts as well. You know, with a lot of people involved and, you know, a lot at stake. And every single time it just ended in kind of a disaster. You know, couldn't even get off the ground. So, yeah, it's just not meant to be, I guess.
No, is there anybody else out there that you really want to work with and just it hasn't happened, or you haven't talked to that person yet, or?
Well, I mean, I am. You know, we all have our A list, you know, but end up, you know, it's sometimes frustrating because, for instance, this Unimog project, I really wanted to work with Al Jurgensen, and you know, it just for reasons I just don't want to have to explain to you what the reasons are, but for whatever reason it didn't work. You know, no fault to his or anything like that, but you know, we did talk for a second. It was pretty cool, but it just didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, it's those kind of things that are frustrating because I know he would be such a perfect fit for Unimog. You know, it's right down his alley. There's even a song on there that is somewhat reminiscent of New World Order, you know, in a way.
Yeah.
And I know he'd be all over it, but then, you know, business gets in the way. You know, sometimes you just can't find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have my frustrations with that sometimes. You know, my biggest frustration is just, as we were talking about earlier, is just not having that band that is home. You know.
Yeah.
Playing with, you know, like AC/DC, you know, those guys are, you know, they're family. Van Halen at a point was like that. A lot of bands like that. Rush, you know. You know, and I miss that. You know, I know, you know, nothing stays the same forever, but it'd be nice to have a nice anchor foundation or a situation that you can depend on. But the closest thing I had to that is Lynch Mob, but we just went to put a new band together. It's Oni and myself. Obviously, the band is built around Oni and myself. We've got Sean McNabb on bass now. Sean McNabb was bass player in Dokken for, you know, decades, I guess. I don't know how long he was in Dokken, but Sean also played in Lynch Mob for a short time in the early 2000s. We had Jimmy Deanda on drums. And we got a new drummer, used to be in a band called Caius, which is predated, you know, Queens of Stone Age. Really awesome guy. He's fantastic and brings a lot of good energy to the band. So, you know, it's a new chapter, new beginnings, new records. We had their Sun Red Sun record come out, I think, last month or the month before, and
right.
we'll have this new record come out later this year. So wow. A lot of new material, new videos, and doing dates, So the whole package. Hopefully we can keep it moving and keep it together for a while.
That's what it sounds like you're doing, though. You're keeping it moving. You're keeping busy. You're keeping everything just go, go, go.
You know what I hate about interviews, though?
What's
All
that?
I do is talk about me.
What do you want to know about me, George?
About it. Yeah, I mean, we haven't even, it's like, where do you work? Tell me about your station.
We're an internet station.
What's your most interesting interview? Who's the most interesting person you've interviewed?
Let me see. One of the funnest ones was definitely Joey Kramer from Aerosmith.
Wow.
If you remember the band Madam X, I just did a 4-part mini-series with them where I did 4 separate interviews with each member. And the bass player, Chris Dolber, he was probably the most emotional interview I did. It was almost 2 hours long, and at times he almost broke down in tears. And, it was a really deep emotion. I felt like I was in a therapy session at times, but it was a great interview. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's why they call it interview, right?
Yeah.
And you did your job. You got pulled all that emotion out of them. Yeah.
It was fun.
Wonderful.
And we do, I cover all the worlds of entertainment, not just music. I mean, my heart and soul is in the world of music and stuff like that, but, I mean, we do TV, movies, sports, cover all the bases.
Politics and religion?
No, not there.
No.
Not going there. I want it to be a fun show.
Yeah, well, some people find that fun. But
once you get arguing about it,
a pair of pants in my lap. My wife just dropped a pair of pants in my lap because she's giving me the "we gotta go" signal.
All right, real quick, I just
guess you won't be getting any emotional tears out of me in this interview.
Well, actually, I had one question left, and I can tie it into something about me because it might interest you, about your bodybuilding. Because actually, I used to be a pro wrestler. Not that I was a bodybuilding pro wrestler, but any more bodybuilding in the world of George Lynch?
No, I mean, that was, I'm not going to say I regretted doing it, but, looking back, it's kind of a silly thing to do. I mean, I was going through a hellacious divorce at the time, and I think it's something I just did, a reactionary kind of a thing just to, keep myself sane and strong and for what I had to deal with. But,
right.
Kind of silly, and I think I realized that when I was on stage at a bodybuilding show where I had no business being, by the way. Little, what are they called? One of those banana hammock little bathing suits you wear, and all shaved and man-tanned, and I'm out there posing to some gay music, and I'm like, some guys are in the front row heckling me, shouting out Dawkins songs and stuff, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing? Okay. So then I just, continued to work out just to, for obvious reasons, just
sure
stay in shape.
Cool. And
but yeah, I got out of control.
All right, what song do you want me to play for you from the Sweet Lynch record?
Well, my favorite song on there is the single, which is "Dying Rose."
Cool. Okay. I'll do that one.
That's kind of like commercial, the commercial single hit kind of song. Right. But I mean, you pick. I mean, you're probably more familiar with the record than I am. They never sent me one.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they never sent me. They sent me a vinyl, but I don't have a record player.
Wow.
I don't have a CD yet. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask them for that. Maybe I could get a couple of those.
Oh, I didn't get it. I just got the MP3 digital version. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll get it. I'm sure they'll send me a CD. You know what? I'll go to Best Buy and buy one.
Yeah, there you go. And
all right, buddy.
Thing, if you can just cut an ID for me, this is George Lynch, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Totally what?
Totally Driven Radio.
Oh, I thought you said Totally German Radio. I was like, what? Okay. All right. Hey, this is George Lynch, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Cool. Thanks, George. Take care, man.
Hey, man. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm glad we got the time figured out. You got it done.
Yeah, right?
I'll yell at Smitty later. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Take care. Bye.